this technology, right? And we're going to use this group of Pakistanis to run your satellite monitoring network for pipelines all over the world. Could you not? And civil monitoring applications called NADRA. That application is going to be called NADRA. I'm recanting a lot of things I've said during our series that people are going to find hard to believe when it actually comes in. And that's true. But if you keep going back to why does Paul Manafort need to hire why does he need to hire a Ukrainian, Russian weapons and arms translator trained in Soviet Union by the GRU? Why is he sitting there as a 23-year-old next to Paul Manafort? Because he's translating about weapons programs. Paul Manafort's the guy who sold the Pakistani submarines. You think they're going to want the Pakistani submarines without any European missiles, without any NATO missiles? Who do you think is going to consult on that? Do you think they're just going to, hey, we're going to put an ad in the paper. Anybody know anything about, NATO satellites and how to control satellite systems and telemetry? No, we didn't get any email, boss. I put that ad up, about, does anybody have any experience with the Natalia satellite or that whole series of satellites from NATO and controlling weapon systems on the X-band? Does anybody know anything about that? And no one answered anything about the SOVA ads for the reverse fast Fourier transforms. Nobody. Oh, hey, I got an idea. Why don't you go get the guy in Russia that did that program? Why don't we bring him down to Pakistan and put him in charge of the program? And if you'll notice, the guy who ran that program, when the Paul Manafort's in 92, I think it was, when Paul Manafort brought those subs in, right? Where do they go? Karachi, right? Or port of Qasim, actually. That guy is the guy they brought down. And that is going to be the story of Natalia Sova. Natalia Sova, that program is going to be basically taking all the NATO stuff and remarketing it and remaking it in as a factory, Pakistani ordnance factory. I didn't make up the name. They came up with the name, believe me. Deep Uranium told me about this a long time ago. I need to have some Russian translators. If I'm going to make this thing, if I'm going to look at what they did with Urenco. They took German Siemens, right, centrifuges and copied them and made them Urenco, right? All they did was all AQ-Con did is slap a new label on those things, right? And then they keep stealing technology, keep hacking, getting the latest and greatest technology as they went from the IR-1 to the IR-2, the IR-3 for the Iranian centrifuges. Those were all precursored by the technology being stolen in Piketon. I don't think as much technology was being stolen from the Paducah for some reason, because it seemed like Paducah is a generation behind. But if you wanted the best stuff, you wanted the latest and greatest stuff to rip off, you have to send some of the originals. The engineers aren't going to believe your CAD drawings. They're going to go, hey, we need some originals here. And that's why Piketon got denuded from all their, first thing is, let's get our program going. Let's sell the ones we got here. But believe you me, some of them went to Pakistan to be reverse engineered so that they could sell in the future. Piketon, you can't rob Piketon forever. Pretty soon people are going to figure out, hey, we're $1 billion. We pulled out the plug after $1 billion and nobody asked where the $1 billion worth of centrifuges are. Hey, we can work this all day. No, that only works one time. It's still people don't believe you. Still people don't say, well, what did they do with the $1 billion? It's kind of like the MOX plant down in Charleston or Savannah Riverside. $5 billion, and all we got was concrete with some rebar sticking up. Do you know how much concrete, $5 billion worth of concrete would be? Does it sound like they went through the whole phase of how you could design a site to use plutonium filed uranium and then got to the part where they actually had to build something and they quit? But they went through the planning stages with all the subcontractors, right? And then they said, oh, we can't do it. We're going to have to stop the MOX plant in Savannah Riverside. I got a great idea. We'll move it to Iran. Bingo. We'll put it in Mashhad. We'll bury it deep underground. We'll use our tunneling technology. We'll put it deep underground, right? That's what happened. Piketon was a gold mine for intellectual property. Why does Paul Manafort need a weapons translator that speaks both Ukrainian and Russian? because the Ukrainian nuclear program was based mostly in, the Russian nuclear program was based mostly in Ukraine, right? That's why, right? The weapons programs were based mostly in that area for whatever reason. I don't know, most availability of scientists or whatever. So the exfiltration of scientists into our universities is mainly going to come from there, right? Look at our Capitol Hill. It's full of people speaking Russian and Ukrainian. Why? Senate Armed Self-Services Committee and weapons. That's the name of the game. And you got to pay for the weapons somehow. You're going to have some USAID people teaching people how to grow opium, bottom line. So that's why I look to crossroads like Ukraine, and then more specifically Crimea, and then more specifically